Hello everyone and welcome back. We continue our journey with the power windows, but we're moving to tracking. This is the next tab that you can open and it's called Tracker. Let's create a power window. We're gonna move to a frame which is most representative of our character. Not the best shot that is supposed to be used for tracking, but you can use it for whatever you wish. Now, let's create a curve around our character. We have created a curve around our character. Let's increase the softness. By the way, let's enable highlight and increase the softness just a little bit. And if I just hit play, the person is going to walk out and this shape is going to remain static because this portion is not tracked. Let's correct that and move to tracker. We have three available trackers. The first one is called window, the one that we are going to use. The second one is called stabilizer. It is going to do the same thing that you can do within the edit page, but show you the graph, what it created. And it can be used for visual effects. We're not going to talk about VFX and we're not going to talk about stabilizer in this particular tutorial. We're going to talk about tracker window. In this tracker you can select, as you can see everything is selected, but you can select or deselect pen, tilt, zoom, rotate and perspective 3D, because sometimes you do not need perspective or you do not need rotation of the selection. You can deselect them for your tracker to work the best. Now, these are controls for the tracker to work. The main control that you want to use all of the time pretty much is track back and forth. But you can track forward, you can track backward, you can stop tracking, and you can track only one frame forward. Now, these are controls for the clip and frame. We're going to discuss it a little bit later. And we have interactive mode and Cloudtracker. What is Cloudtracker and what is point tracker? I'm going to show you how it is working. Right now we are using Cloudtracker. So let's track it. I'm going to track it back and forth. Well, this is a pretty bad track of the window because it has shifted right at the beginning of the tracking, which is not good. But we have the tracking information and it is called Cloudtracker because it has created numerous points on our subject and tracked all of them. But this is the perfect example in which we are going to use frame parameter. What it is going to do? The clip parameter is here for you to change the shape of your window, to change the scale of your window, but to keep the same tracking information. Why would you want that? Sometimes you want to, for example, create a very small area that is high, that contains high contrast, that you want to track, but then you want to increase the area that you want to cover to a bigger one. In this case, you're going to use tracker, and then in clip mode, you are going to resize your window, and the tracker is going to keep the same size of the window throughout the whole tracking sequence. But in our particular selection, as you can see, this symbol shows that this selection has been tracked. In our particular tracking situation, we have a really bad track, and you can fix it by moving to a frame that you want, click into frame, and we're going to move this selection to the position that we want. It has created a keyframe in here, and it's going to interpolate the movement of this particular track from one side to the other. And it's going to continue behaving like so, and it's not the perfect shape and it's not the perfect situation for all of that. So let's reset track data on active window. Let's remove this window, let's find a new position, and let's create something easier for tracker and for this demonstration. This kind of situation that we have in right here, it is not good for tracking, just not. I just do not really have the other footage that I can use, but it doesn't really matter. So let's move to the tracker again. We have this particular portion and let's track it back and forth. So Now it did a better job of tracking our subject, but it's really not that useful because we're tracking just a portion of his back, which is not really great. But for demonstration, this is fine. So we have clip selected. We can increase the size of our selection, and it's going to continue moving the same way, contain the same tracking information, but with a different size. Let's reduce it back. And if we want to readjust the tracker, we need to use frame. In this frame, we can readjust it. And as I told you before, it is going to interpolate the frames in between and continue from this point. Now, sometimes another person or another part of the scene is going to move in front of our subject. What do we do in this case? In this case, we are going to find the portion, the clip, in which the person is going to go into this situation. Let's imagine that something is going to move at this particular frame, starts moving from left to right, covering our tracking data. So we're going to track up to this point, then move to the point in which the person appears again, go to frame, readjust our tracking position, and continue tracking from this point. Now, in between, we can select the points in between, go in here and clear selected data. This way, this tracker is going to interpolate the movement between these 2 points. And when the person is being covered by something else, the tracker is going to interpolate and slowly move to a new position. So this way you can fix a problem with crossing something crossing the subject. Now, we have a Cloudtracker right now enabled, and we have interactive mode. Interactive mode is going to show you all of the tracking points that the tracker is using in order to track this power window. You can have some effect, you can alter them the way you want. How would you do that? We have 3 options in here. The first one is here to allow you to add tracking points to a certain area. You're going to select the area that you want, and you're going to click on insert. And DaVinci is going to find different points on the tracking area that you've selected and add them to the tracking information. If you want to delete some tracking points, you're going to select the area that you want and click delete those points. Now, this add set a point is here to set points manually, but as you can see, it's not really working because it is designed for DaVinci Resolve keyboard, which I do not really have. Now, this is an interactive mode. Now, we have Cloudtracker, but we also have Point Tracker. Sometimes Cloudtracker is not really the best choice for you. In this way, you are going to use the Point Tracker. This is not the situation in which you are going to use the Point Tracker, but we're going to demonstrate that nonetheless. Let's make a selection, a power window like so. And let's move to tracking. We have selected Point Tracker, and if we click track, nothing is going to happen because we need to create the points. Click add tracker point, and the tracker point is going to appear in the center of the screen. Again, grab it and select the point that has the most contrast, for example, something like this. Now we're going to add a second point because it is impossible to track something that is perspective using just one point. So we're going to add a second point, and we're going to add a third point, and we're going to click track. DaVinci is going to use these 3 points in order, but they have to stay within this window. They're going to use these 3 points in order to track the power window on top of our character. I click just track forward rather than back and forth, but it does not really matter at all. Now, we can reset track data to remove the track data completely, clear selected track data I demonstrated before in order to create interpolation between 2 points, delete a certain keyframe, clear all tracking data, show track, and copy and paste track data. Also, as you can see, we are using GPU acceleration. I'm not sure if it is possible to use that in the free version of DaVinci, but in the studio version, we can use GPU acceleration in order to track all of that. So this is the tracker, a really useful tool. You are going to use it very often when you're using Windows, because typically shots are not static. And if the shot is static, something within that frame is going to move anyway. So you're going to need to use Tracker a lot if you're using Power Windows. But for all of the people that have studio version of DaVinci Resolve, Magic Mask is available to facilitate your tracking, to make your life a little bit easier. And we're going to talk about Magic Mask in the next video. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.